up, Taker? Space Bandit here with another episode of World of Tanks. And as promised, guys, as promised, I thought this tank deserves its own video and not just any type of video. I wanted to make it relatively long because this tank deserves it. I know I haven't featured this tank on my channel yet, but here it is. And the reason why I haven't featured this tank for such a long time, I mean, I've had this channel for how many years now? And I think this is the first video with E25. The reason why, guys, is because this tank is friggin' OP as hell. And, you know, in the past, I didn't think posting OP vehicles on my channel would serve any purpose to anyone, to be honest. But, you know what, with a lot of new players in the game nowadays, I think they need to know what tanks are good in this game and what tanks they should be trying to get, especially if you have a chance. And this is one of them. E25, probably the best, if not the best, Tier 7 TD with preferential matchmaking. Yes, you heard it right. It has preferential matchmaking. The camo on this thing is absolutely insane. With my setup, or with my commander setup, and you saw my commander build at the beginning of this video. If you missed it, go back and take a look at it. But anyway, with my commander build, I have still concealment of 173 meters. Yes, you heard that right. 173 meters. And vision range of 471 meters. Totally insane. Totally insane for Tier 7 tank. So just like with Cannon and Jagdpanzer, what I like to do with this tank is I like to spot early. Just like a medium tank. You spot early, you get your spotting damage, you can put out ridiculous amount of damage with the 3-second reload that I have on this tank is insane. Absolutely insane. The alpha is kind of small because you're talking about 125 alpha per shot or something of that nature. Well, actual is 135, but I usually low roll in this tank a lot. And for a good reason, because if you would be rolling 135 or 140 or more with this tank for every shot, it will be even more OP than it already is. So this tank is a camo monster, and that's the way it should be played. You stay away from all the action. Obviously, the concealment you have allows you to get as close as you can to your opposition and break through their camos. But once you get too close, you have to run away. Remember, distance is king. The problem with this tank is got 0 armor, so don't count on it. You're always gonna get penned. The advantage of it is mobility, and because it's very maneuverable, you can actually wiggle to get out of trouble many times. But don't make a habit of it, because if someone knows how to shoot, they'll definitely hit you. Now this tank is so small, it is really hard to hit, kind of like AMX ELC Even 90, the French Tier 8 light tank. This tank is as small as that, so it is relatively hard to hit. But again, try to stay away as far as you can. So in this video montage, I had shitloads of games that I showed you guys. It was multiple games, probably from the same run. I mean, I'm not really keeping footage of this tank because, like I said, this tank is so good. You can easily get 4K combined damage games almost every game, depending on the map. Obviously, if you get a small map, it's kind of hard to do it, but even on small maps, this tank is relatively good as long as it's not like a Tier 8 matchmaking where it's gonna struggle a bit. Now, the penetration on those shells, and I didn't mention that yet, I'm carrying mostly APCR rounds, which is the premium rounds on this tank, and the reason why is because the pen on the standard round is kind of low. You're talking about 150 millimeters of penetration, so I fully loaded with APCR or premium rounds on this tank, which have 194 millimeters of penetration. And these shells are going to be perfectly fine at your tier lower. You're going to struggle a bit at Tier 8 because a lot of heavy tanks at Tier 8 have tough armor at the front. Usually you'll need over 200 millimeters of penetration in order to penetrate those tanks, so keep that in mind. You're probably going to have to flank a lot of heavy tanks at Tier 8, but having said that, come on. With this mobility and concealment, you can do exactly those things. And You're gonna see me do a little bit of that here in this game, because this is basically a tier 8 matchup, which is worst case you're ever gonna get. So you're gonna see me having trouble penetrating some of these tanks over here. Now, what I do on Westfield, and you've seen my videos in the past, Westfield is a fantastic map, especially for this tank, where you could get yourself in a central location early, where you could pick up tons of damage, and that's exactly what we did over there. Unfortunately, we were kind of YOLO'd by a couple of tanks in the middle, but my team was good enough to take them out of the game, which was good, and we managed to escape without losing too much of my HP. So we're still sitting at about, what, 555 HP right now, which is enough that I will need in this tank in order to keep me going on this map. Now, I'm kind of having trouble penetrating this freedom, and that's what I was talking about with these rounds. 194 millimeters of penetration will get you so far, but against tough armor at tier 8, it's going to be a problem. And there's a lot of tanks at tier 8 that have shitloads of armor, which is going to be hard to pen. So things like defenders, IS-3s, obviously Russian heavies, some of the German heavies or German super heavies at tier 8, like 101, Mauerbrecher. Yeah, these things you won't be able to pen with this tank. So you're going to have to find flanking shots, maneuver yourself to the position where you can actually get their sights and get damage like that. We'll try to take them out of the game this way. So in this game, we did pretty well so far. As you notice here, we're sitting at about, what, 5k combined damage or something like that. The game is relatively close. Both teams are kind of holding it close, which gives me opportunity to have a decent game here. So we're going to come around, all the way around to the north side of the map, where we can hopefully catch some of these TDs napping on this side here. So that was the idea. I'm going to come up this ridgeline here. Hopefully you can spot someone, put some shells into them. So can we spot anyone? Let's take a look over here. Yes, we spot this. What is this? Bison T103. We're going to put a shell into him right there. And now we're going to run away. He's got a big gun, and I know about this. So we're going to cut this off a little bit over here because I ran off. I was thinking that he was going to come after me, but he did not. So we're just going to take him out of the game right here. We came back, basically. We took him out of the game. And now we're going to search for the last tank, which is the creature. These tanks have derp guns. So if they hit me, I'm dead, right? So you got to keep that in mind. And we skip forward a little bit over here because I didn't want to show you guys me driving around the map. But basically, we found it in the southeast area of the map. And we almost ran into his gun, which was very unfortunate. And I was a bit worried over here because, as you can see, I have only 2 TDs supporting me, but they're really slow TDs. One is the T28 prototype, and the other one was the Borsig, or was it the Iron Rain? I don't know, one of those two. So we decided to run away, and I wanted to approach it from a different side. So again, we're going to cut it here again to shorten this video a little bit so you don't see me driving around the map. But basically, we came around from area F0 so that we can get flanking shots into him if he pokes the ridgeline. In the meantime, our TDs might have enough time to make it up top of the hill, and hopefully they didn't cap so we can get a little bit more damage here. And we spotted the creature right here. We put 1 shell into him. Unfortunately, the second shell misses. Third shell, we put it into him. Can we take him out of the game? Unfortunately, we cannot. So he disappears. But we're going to be patient here. And again, the only reason I'm not pushing this, and maybe I should push this right here because he's a one shot, and if I can catch him not looking at me, I could easily put a shell into him. But I was extra cautious here. I wanted to make sure I finished this game with a win, so I didn't mind if one of my friendlies takes him out and I don't. And I wasn't really sure which way he was facing here. I just wasn't looking anyway. But he gets taken out by our Iron Rain. That's what it was, the Iron Rain. Anyway, so E25, definitely a tank you must own. It is one of the best TDs in the game. Like I said, if not one of the best, then the best TD at tier 7 with preferential matchmaking. And you can expect games like this all the time with this tank if you play it right. Get yourself as close as you can. Do not break your concealment circle. Make sure you stay undetected. And then when opposition gets close to you, turn around, run away, and get yourself within safe distance so you can engage them again. Now, we weren't able to get ace tanker in this session because, like I said, the guys are clubbing in this thing. Like, I've had a game with Freddy where he had over 5,000 damage in this tank. Like, seriously, this tank is crazy good. So you must have it. If you don't, and you have opportunity to buy it, do not hesitate. Go for it. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's it for now. Until next time, happy tanking, Space Bandit, checking out.